Question 22. A chocolate bar is sold in 2 different sizes as part of a special offer. The standard bar is 150 grams. So my first chocolate bar is this Cheap and Cheerful, and it's the usual amount of chocolate, so that's 150 grams, but 25% off the price. My second chocolate bar here is Big and Beautiful, and that's the same price, but 30% extra chocolate. Which is better value for the customer? You must show your working. So with this sort of question, I think it would make sense for me to say, for me to come up with an imagined amount of money that would be the usual price. Okay, so the typical price. Right? So let's think about that typical price, and let's just make it easy for ourselves and make it £1 or 100p, £1. Okay, so if this one was £1, so if my price were, if the typical price or normal price were £1, okay, then Cheap and Cheerful would be 75p, wouldn't it? Would be, right, 25% off £1 would be is 75p. So it would be 75p for 150 grams. That's the usual amount of chocolate, standard bar, 150 grams. Right? So 75p for 100 grams. 75p for 150 grams. Or that's 2 grams per 1p. Okay, that could be useful for us. Now let's take Big and Beautiful. Big and Beautiful. So Big and Beautiful with the same price. So that would be right. Same price would be 100p for 30% extra chocolate. Okay, so for 150 grams plus 30% extra. So for 150 times by 1.3, right? That's a 30% increase, which would be, you can just do that on your calculator if you want. 150 times by 1.3, 195 for 195 grams. Right. So wouldn't that be, which would be, or 1.95 grams per 1p. Yeah. So I'm getting 2 grams for each 1p, double the amount of grams as pence. But on this one, I'm getting slightly less than double the amount of grams as pence. So this one's better value. I'm getting more chocolate for each 1 pence, or for each pound, if you want to look at it that way. So my answer is Cheap and Cheerful. And there's loads and loads of different ways in which I could go about this. This is just one way, whereby I assign the price of £1, the typical price of £1 to it, and work from there, and then get an amount per 1p. There's very many different ways you could do that. Okay, you could make it for the same amount of grams, and then compare the price, or you can make it for the same price between the two and compare the amount of grams. I've done this approach. There's plenty of different ones. We have to think carefully, logically about the situation and just follow it through.